So this happened about a year ago. My wife told a table full of her college friends that she married too young, and I walked out right then. Not because I was hurt or angry. I was just done. Completely done. We were at a steakhouse in downtown Boston for her 10-year college reunion. Sarah had gone to Boston University, and 6 of her sorority sisters were there catching up. I was sitting at the table with them, nursing a beer while they drank wine and scrolled through old photos on their phones. Sarah was getting progressively louder with each glass, reminiscing about their glory days and all the wild stuff they used to do back then. The conversation eventually turned to where everyone was in their lives now. Jennifer had just gotten engaged a few months back and kept showing off her ring to everyone, tilting her hand to catch the light. Michelle was going on and on about dating apps and how much fun she was having being single, talking about all the different guys she was meeting and spontaneous weekend trips she was taking. At one point, Michelle laughed and said, "God, I'm so happy I'm not married yet. There's still so much living to do before I settle down." Jennifer acted mock offended and turned to Sarah with a grin. "Hey, marriage can be fun too, right, Sarah?" Sarah didn't even hesitate, not even a pause. "Honestly, I think I married way too young. We both did." The table went quiet for maybe 2 seconds. Then her friends started chiming in with agreement. "Yeah, you guys got married right after graduation, didn't you? I can't imagine settling down that early in life. You totally missed your entire 20s. Sarah was nodding along, gaining more confidence. "Exactly. I mean, sometimes I wonder what my life would have been like if I'd waited. What experiences did I miss out on?" I'd been sitting there quietly the whole time, just holding my beer. I set it down very slowly, looked directly at Sarah, then at each of her friends. Well, it's never too late to fix a mistake. I stood up, pulled out my wallet, dropped $40 on the table for my drinks, and walked straight toward the exit. Complete silence followed me. I heard Michelle's voice as I reached the door, confused. Wait, was he serious? I didn't turn around. I walked out into the September night in Boston, got in my car, and drove straight to my older brother's place in Cambridge, the place I'd already been planning to go to for about 3 weeks now. See, this wasn't some spontaneous reaction. This was the final confirmation of what I'd been documenting for 18 months. I crashed on Matt's couch that night. My phone went absolutely crazy. 27 missed calls by the time I woke up in the morning. 43 text messages. The voicemails cycled through every emotion. Angry, crying, confused, desperate. Her last message came at 3 in the morning, her voice small. "Please come home. We need to talk about this." Matt woke up around 8. He's 36, divorced himself about 2 years back. He understood immediately. "About time, man," he said, pouring coffee. "I was wondering when you'd finally do it." Reunited, around 9:30, someone started pounding hard on the door. Matt answered, blocking the doorway. "He doesn't want to talk to you right now." Trembling's voice came through, loud. "This is ridiculous. It was one comment. One stupid comment when I was drunk." I appeared behind Matt. "Let her in." Presumption. Matt stepped aside but stayed in the room within earshot. Sarah stormed past him, then stopped when she saw my face. "You completely embarrassed me in front of all my friends," she said. "Do you have any idea how embarrassing that was?" "I embarrassed you?" I kept my voice level. "Interesting perspective." "I was just venting. Everyone complains about their marriage sometimes. It's normal." "Do they?" I pulled out my phone, opened my notes app, scrolled to the list I'd been keeping. "July 19th, I started reading out loud. "You told your mom on the phone that marriage was harder than you thought, and you felt stuck." Trang's face went completely white. "August 5th. You told your sister Emily that if you could do it over, you'd have traveled more before settling down." I kept scrolling. "August 22nd. You told Michelle you envied how free she was." September 10th. You told Jennifer on the phone that you envied her single lifestyle. September 24th. 3 days ago. You told Michelle you sometimes wonder if you married the right person. I showed her the screen. 15 documented instances over 18 months. Each one dated, noting who she'd said it to, with the exact quote. "You've been tracking what I say?" Her voice rose. "That's controlling behavior." Trimming. "I've been listening to what you say. There's a significant difference." Her defense started crumbling as she scanned the list. I didn't mean those things, it's just talk. Blowing off steam. Presumption. It's not just talk when you mean it every single time. When you say the same thing to different people over 18 months, that's not venting. That's how you actually feel. Shielding tactics. You're still holding that thing from grad school against me, aren't you? Shameful. What thing? Say it out loud. It was nothing. Just some texts with a classmate. Texts where you told another man you were falling for him, that you thought about him constantly. We never did anything physical. We never even met up. And I forgave you, I said. Went to counseling for 6 months. Believed you when you said you'd appreciate what we had. But you didn't learn gratitude. You learned I'd tolerate disrespect. Sarah just stared at me. What do you want me to do? Nothing. I've had a lawyer for 3 weeks now. Papers are already drawn up. Trespass. You what? Massachusetts is equitable distribution. We'll split everything fairly. I'll be out of the apartment by Wednesday. Please be gone when I come to get my things. What am I supposed to do with the rent? I can't afford that place alone. Pay it. You make $60,000 a year now. Thanks to you putting me through grad school for 3 years. Tightening. That's true. And you're welcome. I can't afford it by myself. The rent is $2,800 a month. Then find a roommate or move somewhere cheaper. Not my problem anymore. I grabbed my jacket. Go home. I'll be there in an hour. Please be gone when I arrive. Shelter she wasn't gone when I got to our Brookline apartment an hour later. She'd called her parents. They were already on their way from Newton. I packed methodically. Clothes, documents, personal items. Sarah followed me from room to room. What about counseling? We haven't tried that in years. We tried it after your emotional affair. It didn't stick. You've just changed into someone who publicly regrets marrying me. I was drunk. People say stupid things when they're drunk. Drunk words are sober thoughts. You've been saying the same things sober for 18 months. Her parents arrived as I was loading boxes. Robert and Patricia Chen walked in looking confused and concerned. Mike, what's happening here? Robert asked. I'm moving out. Sarah can explain why. Patience looked at her daughter. Surely you two can work this out. Every marriage has rough patches. Ask your daughter what she told her friends at the reunion last night. Sarah stayed completely quiet. Sarah? Robert's voice got firm. What happened? I said something stupid, Sarah finally spoke. He's blowing it completely out of proportion. She told a table full of her friends she married too young. That we both did. They all agreed. Talked about how she missed out on her 20s. I was sitting right there. Patricia's hand went to her mouth. Oh, honey, it was just girl talk. It doesn't mean anything. I pulled out the printed copies of my documentation and handed them to Robert. 18 months of this. It's all there, dated and documented. Selfish Robert read silently, his expression getting darker with each page. Patricia read over his shoulder, her face falling. Sarah Chen, Patricia said quietly. You said all of this while he was supporting you through graduate school? Dad, it's not what it sounds like. It's out of context. Ramifications. Robert looked up at me. How much did you contribute while she was in graduate school? About $35,000 for tuition, $70,000 for rent over 3 years, plus all groceries, utilities, insurance, car repairs. Call it $105,000 total. Sarah, is this accurate? He offered. I didn't force him to pay for anything. I said. You didn't ask. You expected it. You took it as a given. And what have you been contributing since graduation? Patricia asked. Sarah said nothing. About 20% of monthly expenses, I answered. Maybe $1,200 a month. The rest goes into her savings. She's got about $80,000 saved. I have 13. Robert stared at his daughter like he'd never seen her before. You've been banking almost everything while he carried the load? I was building financial security. Prescience security from what? Patricia's voice cracked. Your marriage? You don't understand what it's like being married this young. Crimson. I married your mother at 23 years old, Robert said quietly. We've been married 35 years. Never once regretted it, publicly or privately. Ragazzo finished loading my car. Robert walked me out. Mike, I'm so sorry. We raised her better than this. I don't know where this came from. I thought so too. I drove back to Matt's. Called my lawyer first thing Monday morning. Sarah got served with divorce papers at work on Tuesday. She called me 19 times that day. I didn't answer once. She showed up at my office downtown. Security called my extension. Mr. Peterson, your wife is in the lobby asking to see you. Negligence. Tell her I'll only speak through my attorney. Wednesday morning, she sent a 2,000-word email claiming I was cruel and vindictive, that I was giving up on 8 years together. I responded with exactly one line. You had 18 months to change. You chose not to. Thursday, Patricia called me. She's devastated, Mike. Relinquith. I'm sure she is. Crimson. Is there anything she can do to fix this? She could start by being honest with herself about why this happened. Projection sighed. She's blaming you to everyone we know, telling people you're controlling. I know. 3 mutual friends have already reached out. Timeouts. For what it's worth, Robert and I believe you. We saw the documentation. We're not taking her side. Thank you. That means a lot. Slamming. Friday evening, Sarah showed up at Matt's apartment. She'd dressed up, done her hair, brought my favorite takeout. Matt answered the door and sighed. Really, Sarah? I need to talk to him. Just 5 minutes. Please. Terminated to the door. No. Ragazzo, I'm asking. You can talk to my lawyer. Stop saying that. Stop hiding behind your lawyer. I'm your wife. Not for long. Insistence. She started crying right there on the doorstep. Matt looked uncomfortable. Sarah, go home. This isn't helping. I don't want to lose you, she sobbed. Please. I made a mistake. Ruthless. You lost me when you decided I wasn't enough. I closed the door. 3 weeks later, we had our mediation session in an office downtown. Sarah showed up with an expensive attorney. I had Bill Thompson, a straightforward guy in his 50s. Sarah's lawyer opened confidently. My client is willing to split all marital assets 50-50. Bill slid a folder across the table. Let's review the complete documentation first. For the next hour, we went through everything. Every bank statement, every rent payment, every student loan payment I'd made on her behalf. All categorized and documented. Sarah's lawyer's confidence evaporated. My client contributed significant household labor and emotional support. My client did 100% of the cooking, all maintenance, all repairs, and carried 85% of the financial burden, Bill interrupted. Then he mentioned the emotional affair, slid across the printed text messages. Sarah's lawyer went pale. He whispered urgently with Sarah for 5 minutes. After more negotiation, Sarah's lawyer asked if their clients could speak privately. Bill and I exchanged a look. I nodded. The lawyers and mediator stepped out. The moment the door closed, Sarah leaned forward. Mike, please, we can fix this. I'll do anything. Discharged. Stop. I know I messed up, but everyone makes mistakes. Misunderstand, you didn't mess up. You made a choice. Over and over for 18 months straight. I was just scared. Scared of missing out. Scared of looking back with regrets. Nissan, and now you won't miss out. You'll have exactly what you wanted. I don't want this. I don't want to lose you. Silenced. You wanted to be single. You talked about wondering what your 20s would have been like. You talked about feeling trapped. Now you're not trapped. That's not fair. Fair would have been you appreciating what you had while you had it. The lawyers returned. We reached an agreement. I got 60% of shared assets. Sarah kept the apartment, but had to refinance within 90 days to buy out my equity, about $45,000. She kept her $80,000 in savings. I kept my retirement account. No alimony. Sarah signed with shaking hands. I signed calmly. Outside, she tried one more time. I never wanted to hurt you. Discharged. But you did. Repeatedly. What happens now? You figure out if being single is really what you thought it would be. Are you seeing someone? Not your business anymore. I walked away. Over the next month, the fallout unfolded. 3 couples we'd been friends with reached out. 2 sided with me after hearing the full story. 1 tried staying neutral. Sarah told everyone her version. He gave up on us over 1 drunken comment. But her college friends knew the truth. They'd been there. Jennifer texted me, "I'm sorry. We should have stopped her from saying those things." "Not your responsibility," I replied. Robert called every week to check in. "You handled this with more grace than I would have." One of those calls lasted longer than usual. Patricia and I have been talking a lot about how we raised Sarah. GMT, you didn't miss anything. You raised her fine. Did we? Because our daughter threw away a good marriage because she was nostalgic for college parties. People make their own choices, Robert. She was always somewhat entitled, Robert admitted. Even as a kid. Always wanted what other kids had. Never quite satisfied with what she got. We should have taught her more gratitude. Patricia feels terrible about it. You can't teach someone to be grateful if they don't want to learn. Robert was quiet for a moment. She asked us for money last month. For the refinance? Migrate. No, general expenses. Said everything was more expensive than she expected. I told her, "Welcome to adulthood." Patricia wanted to give it to her. I refused. Menstrual. That must have been hard. James. It was necessary. She's been living in a comfortable bubble, Mike. Your bubble. She needs to learn what things actually cost. How'd she take that? Relinquiled that. Accused us of choosing your side. I told her there are no sides, just consequences. Patricia got on the phone. "Mike, honey, I'm so sorry about all of this." "You don't have anything to apologize for." Plunge. I made excuses for her when she complained. I told Robert it was normal venting. I didn't want to see what was really happening. Relinquirts wouldn't. Silenced. You were good to her. Better than she deserved. I hope you find someone who appreciates that. Working on it. Afghanistan, I felt bad for them. Good people who'd raised a daughter that somehow missed the lesson about gratitude. Sarah kept trying different ways to contact me. Week 5, she sent flowers to Matt's apartment. Big, expensive arrangement. Card said, "I miss my husband." I donated them to a nursing home. Week 6, she started posting on social media about biggest regrets and taking people for granted. I'd already blocked her, but mutual friends sent screenshots. Week 7, she showed up at a bar she knew I went to with Matt. Just happened to be there with her friends. I saw her, finished my beer without rushing, and left without saying a word. Week 8, she texted from a new number. "I'm in therapy now, really working on myself. Can we please talk?" "I'm glad you're getting help, but no." Crimson, Mike. I understand now what I did wrong. Slamming asking isn't the same as deserving another chance. How long are you going to punish me? I'm not punishing you. I'm protecting myself. The night after Sarah's 8th attempt, Matt and I were sitting on his balcony with beers. It was late October, cold enough to see our breath. "You know what I respect about this?" Matt said. "You're not being an A about it. You're just done. Learn from watching you." He laughed. My divorce was way messier. Lot more yelling. "You ever regret it?" "Every day for the first month. Then not at all after that." He looked at me. "You regretting it?" "No, just tired." "That's normal." He took a drink. "My advice? Don't date anyone for at least 6 months. Just be alone for a bit. Figure out who you are without her. That's the plan. You've been half of something for 8 years. Time to be a whole person by yourself." Good advice. Matt knew the temptation to fill the void quickly. "She's going to keep trying," he said. "Probably for months." "I'm prepared." Good man. We sat in silence for a while. The city hummed below us. "You ever wonder if you're being too hard on her?" Matt asked. "Every time she calls." Then I remember 18 months of the same complaints, and grad school, and how she looked her friends in the eye and said she married too young while I was sitting right there. "Yeah," Matt nodded. "You're not being too hard on her." 2 weeks later, I found an apartment in Somerville. Small studio, affordable. Mine. I decorated simply. No reminders of the marriage. Started going to the gym regularly. Reconnected with old Boston college friends. Took a weekend trip to Portland with Matt. Started noticing I had more money at the end of each month. One night I met up with two guys from BC, Derek and Chris. We hadn't hung out much since I'd gotten married. They'd invited me out over the years, but Sarah usually had something planned or made me feel guilty about going. We met at a sports bar in Cambridge. They'd both heard about the divorce through mutual connections. "So you're single again," Derek said, raising his beer. "Welcome back." "How you holding up?" Chris asked. "Better than expected." "Sarah was always kind of intense," Derek said carefully. Chris shot him a look. "What? I'm just saying. Remember junior year when she got mad Mike went to that concert with us instead of her birthday dinner? Her birthday was the next week." "Exdrain," I said, but she acted like I'd missed the actual day. I'd forgotten about that. Or trained myself to forget things like that. "She had a way of making you feel bad for having your own life," Chris added. "We noticed. Just didn't say anything because we didn't want to interfere." "Why not?" Rempel shrugged. "You seemed happy. Or we thought you were. And who wants to be that friend who talks trash about someone's wife?" "I get it." "But man," Chris said, "when we heard what happened at that reunion, we were like, finally, took you long enough." We spent the night talking about nothing important. Sports, work, plans for summer. Normal stuff. I realized how much I'd missed it. Having friends, doing things without checking in first, not feeling guilty for laughing too loud or staying out late. Around midnight, Derek asked, "You seeing anyone?" "Sort of. Just started. Taking it really slow." "Visionary. Don't rush into anything." "Trust me, I'm not." Mailbox. "But you're happy?" Chris asked. I thought about it. "Yeah, I actually am." "Then that's all that matters." Walking home that night, I felt lighter than I had in years. I also started seeing a therapist around this time. Dr. Linda Martinez. Had an office near Harvard Square. First session was awkward. I'd never done therapy before. "What brings you in today?" she asked. "My wife and I are getting divorced." "How do you feel about that?" "Fine, actually. That's the problem. I feel totally fine." She waited for me to continue. "Shouldn't I be more upset? We were together 8 years." "Should you?" "Everyone keeps asking if I'm okay, like they expect me to be falling apart." "Are you falling apart?" "No, I'm relieved. Is that wrong?" Dr. Martinez smiled. "There's no wrong way to feel. Tell me about the relationship." Unleashed after everything. The grad school support, the emotional affair and counseling after, the 18 months of documented complaints, the reunion, walking away. All of it. She listened without interrupting once. When I finished, she leaned back. "It sounds like you'd been grieving this marriage for a very long time before you actually left." That hit me. "What do you mean?" "Jang, you kept detailed records for 18 months. That's not denial. That's someone preparing for an ending they already knew was inevitable." "So I wasn't really in the marriage anymore." "Were you?" she asked gently. I thought about it. "No, not for a while." "Then of course you feel relieved. You already did the hard emotional work. You're not ending a happy marriage. You're formalizing an ending that already happened." Maijas, that made more sense than anything anyone had said. "The question now," Dr. Martinez continued, "is what do you want moving forward?" "I don't know. That's okay." Restraint had the every 2 weeks after that. Slowly, I started understanding why Sarah's comment at the reunion had been the final straw. It wasn't just the words. It was the public validation of private doubts I'd been carrying alone. One evening, I realized I hadn't thought about Sarah all day. No anger, no hurt, just nothing. I texted Matt. "I think I'm actually okay." "Relinquit caught damn time," he replied. 4 months after I walked out of that reunion, we stood in a courthouse downtown. 2 weeks before the court date, Jennifer called me, Sarah's friend from the reunion. "I hope it's okay I'm calling. I got your number from Chris." "It's fine. I wanted you to know something about that night. Sarah was talking about you all evening before you even got there. Complaining about being tied down, about missing out. We thought she was just venting, We didn't realize how serious it was. It's not your fault. Manslaughter. I know. But after you left, she tried to play it off like you were being overdramatic. We weren't buying it. Michelle asked her straight out if she even wanted to be married anymore. What did she say? She said she didn't know. That she loved you but felt like she'd missed something by getting married so young. We all got quiet because we realized you'd been sitting there hearing everything. Stiffness. Yeah, my fiancé is great, but I know I'm ready because I dated other people before him. I lived alone. I figured out who I was. Sarah never did that. No, she didn't. She said, I figured out who I was. Sarah never did that. No, she didn't. Sarah never did that. She didn't. She calls me sometimes now, asks about you, if I've heard anything. I don't tell her much. Her appreciate that. For what it's worth, I think you did the right thing. Walking away took guts. Thanks. We hung up. I thought about what Jennifer said. Sarah loved me but felt like she'd missed something. The problem was, she'd decided I was what she'd missed out on. Not travel or adventures. Me. Our marriage was the obstacle between her and the life she thought she wanted. The judge reviewed our agreement. Are both parties certain they want to proceed? Sarah hesitated, looked at me. Yes, Your Honor, I said. Yes, Sarah whispered. You're both free to remarry. In the hallway after, Sarah stopped me. Mike, wait. I turned. I just want you to know you were right about everything. I know I took you for granted. I didn't appreciate what I had. Time. I know that too. Nam. She teared up. I deserve that. You deserve someone who makes you want to stay married. I deserve someone who doesn't have to convince themselves I'm enough. I hope you find that. I hope you figure out what you actually want. I walked away. Last time I spoke to her. 6 months later, it was late March. Spring in Boston. I was still in my Somerville studio looking at one-bedrooms. I'd gotten promoted at work. My savings account was growing steadily. I'd joined a recreational soccer league and was generally content. I met someone through the league. Emma Rodriguez, 29, high school English teacher. Never married. She was confident, independent, knew what she wanted. We'd been on 4 dates, deliberately taking everything slow. Our first date was coffee after a game. Simple, no pressure. We talked for 2 hours about everything and nothing. So you're divorced? She'd asked directly. Finalized about a month ago. That's recent. Are you ready to date? Trang, I appreciated the honesty. I think so, but I'm taking it slow. Temptation. Good. Me too. I'm not interested in being someone's rebound. Fair. You don't mind asking? She told her college friends she married too young. I agreed and left. Emma laughed. Not mean, just surprised. That's it? That was the final straw. There was a lot before it. There always is. She stirred her coffee. My last boyfriend wanted me to move in after 3 months. Said if I really loved him, I would. I told him if he really respected me, he wouldn't push. We broke up the next week. Shal. Sounds like you know what you want. Took me a long time to figure it out, but yeah, I do. Second date was dinner. She insisted on splitting the check. I like paying my own way. Keeps things equal. Third date was the Museum of Fine Arts. We wandered through exhibits for hours. She knew things about art I didn't. Made observations that made me see pieces differently. Fourth date was drinks at a bar in Cambridge. She told me about her students, funny things they said. I told her about Matt, about learning to live alone again. You seem really well adjusted for someone freshly divorced, she said. I had a long time to prepare mentally. I left that marriage 18 months before I physically left. That's smart. Sad, but smart. The difference between Emma and Sarah was striking. Emma thanked me for small things, insisted on paying her share. She asked about my day and actually listened. No games, no manipulation. She just made me laugh. One Saturday afternoon, I was shopping at Trader Joe's, planning to cook dinner for Emma that evening. I pushed my cart around a corner and nearly collided with Sarah. We both froze. Mike, she said. Hi, Sarah. Awkward pause. How are you? Good, really good. You? I'm okay, adjusting. She looked different, tired, older somehow. Her cart had single-person portions, wine, frozen meals. I heard you're seeing someone. I am. Tightening. That's good. She tried to smile. Is it serious? Could be. We're taking our time. She nodded. What's she like? I paused, decided to be honest. Grateful. Sarah visibly flinched. I see. Relinquiates things without me having to point them out. Says thank you without being prompted. Wants to be there. That's what you deserve. I sold the apartment, she said after a moment. Couldn't make the refinancing work. I could have, but it felt too big, too empty. I'm in a studio in Alston now. It's fine. She didn't mention that her savings was significantly smaller now, or that her reunion friends were mostly married and busy, or that the freedom she'd wanted felt lonely. I've been thinking a lot about what I said at the reunion. Yeah? I was so stupid. I had everything and I didn't see it. Trespass. You saw it, you just didn't value it. I know that now. That's good. Growth is good. Does it matter that I know now? To you, hopefully, yes. To us, no. I know. There's no going back. Her voice cracked. I know I burned that bridge. You didn't burn it. You just showed me it was never as strong as I thought. Jang. If I could go back to that night, shortest, you can't. And honestly, I'm glad it happened. She looked surprised. What? Because I was miserable. I just didn't let myself admit it. You saying what you said gave me permission to stop pretending. You were miserable? For a long time, trying to be enough for someone who didn't want what I was offering. I should let you go. She looked at her cart. You probably have somewhere to be. I'm cooking dinner for Emma tonight. That's nice. You always were a good cook. Take care of yourself, Sarah. You too. And Mike? Yeah? Thank you. Shirts. For what? For not hating me. For letting me learn the hard way. I don't hate you. I just don't love you anymore. She nodded, tears in her eyes. That's fair. We walked in opposite directions. I didn't look back. That evening, Emma came over to my apartment. I cooked while she helped, laughing at my stories. She was wearing one of my old sweatshirts. Music played softly. Wine was open. The silence between conversations felt comfortable. You're quiet, she said. Everything okay? Yeah, just thinking. About? I ran into my ex-wife today at Trader Joe's. She stopped chopping vegetables. Oh, how was that? Fine, actually. Really fine. Do you want to talk about it? Not really. Just grateful. She smiled. For what? For being here. For this. She crossed to me, kissed my cheek. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for showing up. Always. It was a simple moment, but profound. She said, always. Without weight, without resentment, without feeling trapped. She just meant it. I realized this was what partnership actually felt like. Equal investment, mutual appreciation. No scorekeeping, no resentment. We ate dinner together. She told me about her week, actually listened when I talked about mine, laughed at my jokes, helped clean up without being asked. At the door, she said goodnight. Same time next week? Or sooner. Or sooner, she smiled. After she left, I cleaned up the kitchen, feeling content. I thought briefly about Sarah, alone in her apartment. I felt nothing but hope for her and gratitude for myself. Because sometimes, the worst thing someone can do to you turns out to be the best thing they could do for you. Sarah's honesty at that reunion gave me permission to stop pretending everything was fine. I'd spent so long trying to be enough for someone who didn't want what I was offering. Now I was with someone who appreciated it all. She walked away with her regrets and her empty apartment. I walked away with my dignity intact and a future that felt like mine again. Some exchanges work out better than others.